Fascinating media story now that is relevant to millions of workers. Chances are you might not have heard of the New Daily, but chances are also you've helped to pay for it. It's a free Green Left news website, as if that's not a crowded field, and it's paid for by industry superannuation funds. In other words, it's funded by the savings of Australian workers. Yep, workers' money spent on yet another left-leaning news website, without the workers ever having a say in the matter. To give you an idea of its jaundiced political stance, it runs former Channel 10 and ABC commentator Paul Bongiorno, known for his strong leftist views. Last week, he wrote that the Queensland border issues had blown up, not on the Queensland Premier, but on the Prime Minister, claiming Morrison tried to leverage the grief of a Queensland family to score some tawdry political points. Tacky stuff, and I don't mean Morrison. The New Daily also runs Michael Pascoe, former Channel 9 reporter, another embittered Twitter warrior for the Green Left. He wrote recently that the vast majority of economists want compulsory super contributions increased, and that government MPs opposing increases just don't like compulsory super and especially dislike industry super funds. Presumably Pascoe likes industry super funds because they pay for his spruiking, his columns. When the New Daily was established by these funds, it was supposed to sell advertising and turn a quid, but it hasn't actually worked out. The initial capital of $12 million came from big industry super funds, half owned by the unions. And we see the site run ads for super funds and articles praising industry superannuation funds. A letter tabled at the Banking Royal Commission sets out the aims of the site. The proposal addressed to Australian Super CEO Ian Silk in 2012, a year before the site was launched, said the new website would have a slight tilt towards using industry super spokespeople for quotes and would provide a fair and reasonable representation of the industry. Setting out the financial plan, it said the site would provide comprehensive news for free direct to fund members as an alternative to traditional commercial news sources. But it also said it would provide funds with a vehicle where the reporting about financial services, as well as superannuation generally and industry funds specifically, is fair and reasonable, separated from opinion and not subject to opaque editorial proprietorial campaigns. Well, well, well. What a happy coincidence then that Pascoe's opinion piece just happened to be pro-superannuation generally and pro-industry funds specifically, and not subject to any opaque proprietorial campaigns. Not opaque at all, actually. Interestingly, the New Daily also has a commercial arrangement with the ABC, paying the public broadcaster to run some of their news content. So let's get this straight. Workers surrendered their compulsory super contributions, and some of that is used to fund a left-wing news website, and some of that money is sent as additional cash to the ABC to pay for more of their left-wing news coverage. And none of this turns out to be an investment. It burns money. After burning through the first $12 million, more capital has been tipped in. But the financials are not transparent because the New Daily was sold for nothing to Industry Super Holdings, a company owned and run by the industry funds. So members can't easily see what's going on, and the company secretary of Industry Super Holdings refused to reveal details when pressed at a parliamentary inquiry earlier this month.
Do you provide any funding, revenue, sponsorship, marketing arrangements, etc., to the New Daily?
No, we don't. But I would add this, Shay. I'm happy to say this. We contribute capital to the New Daily as required. The New Daily.
What the hell does that mean? You won't provide them with revenue, but provide them with capital as required. So you buy them stuff.
No, it means when they run out of money.
When they run out of revenue. How many times have you provided capital as required?
That matter is confidential.
Wow, so it's all a mystery. All we know is that superannuation money is used to run a loss-making, left-leaning media site that spruiks super and pays the ABC for content. But we don't know how much, which is a worry because sometimes from little losses, big losses grow. Liberal Senator Andrew Bragg used to work in financial services and he smells a rat.
The debates around super in the news media are big issues. How much money should there be going into super through the super guarantee? Who should be managing it? How the governance is run? So on and so forth. So I think it would be much better if they were transparent about it. Certainly the question to the Press Council is how could the Press Council have a directly biased member functioning as part of its orbit?
And there's also the issue of workers, the super members. Do they have a say on how their contributions are being used?
Well, there's a legal arrangement known as the sole purpose test, which means that super funds are supposed to only look after the money for the benefit of the workers and not fund boondoggles and propaganda outfits like the New Daily. And what you're seeing is clear breaches of the sole purpose test.
At a time when compulsory super increases are up for debate, this needs more attention. If super must be compulsory, members need absolute clarity on how their money is invested. Let's bring in the panel now. We're joined by columnist with The Spectator Australia, Rebecca Weisser, and media reporter for the Sydney Morning Herald, Zoe Samios. Good to see you again, Zoe. This is an intriguing operation, the New Daily, isn't it? Do you think we need more transparency?
Oh, it's definitely an intriguing operation. Look, I think in a world where we are talking about fake news and the importance of independent news organisations, I think there needs to be significant amount more transparency around a publication like the New Daily. A lot of people read the New Daily. I know that it comes up certainly in Google search very easily and in Facebook. And I think if it's such a well-known brand, they need to be much more clear about where their money is coming from and whether or not there are obvious agendas in their reporting.
Well, Rebecca, I've checked my super fund. I actually helped to fund the New Daily and I was never asked if I wanted my money used for that.
I think it's absolutely outrageous. I mean, part of this is a media problem. The bigger problem here is a superannuation problem. There has to be absolute transparency about how every single dollar of our super is spent. This is money that is compulsory levied from us on a compulsory basis. And as Senator Andrew Bragg said, it is for a sole purpose. For our retirement. It's not to fund ageing journalists. And when they talk about having a tilt to the left or a tilt towards superannuation, that's the sort of tilt you see on the north face of Mount Everest. It's so slanted. Indeed. So it's great that you bring this up, but, you know, this sort of thing has to stop. It's not fair.
I got a feeling that parliamentary committee and Andrew Bragg and Tim Wilson are going to pursue this. We might see some changes.